So stress and recovery, so important and obviously so often forgotten. It's something that you guys might not have really considered to any level before when it comes to body composition. I know that recovery is massively underdone in general and massively underappreciated because everyone always wants to do the higher intensity stuff all the time. But stress is something that, we certainly spend a lot of time looking at now in a lot of the different groups and things, and it's so important. The impact of it is massive.
I think just quickly to touch upon this, if we look at, like we said earlier on about what protein does in the other video, and how that impacts like your hunger and stuff like that. Think about stress and how much that impacts every time you are on a training plan or a diet. One of the main things, probably one of the most common things that happens is someone gets stressed and falls off the wagon. So unless we can deal with that, and we see that as being really important, and recovery has been really important, they do go hand in hand. Like Josh says, we've got other groups, and we actually teach these as two separate things, but the content for it all is very, very similar. And that's why I put it together for this particular course.
I think that we need to look at stress as something that is actually going on physiologically in your body, not something that you can ignore because it's separate to what's going on when it comes to training and nutrition. This is physiologically affecting how your body's recovering from that workout, how your body's actually performing in that workout, what food choices you're making, how well you're sleeping, and so on. So just to touch on this, a quick image there. Now, we know that stress is one of the key components in obesity, and I like this image because it covers the key things that we tend to look at as well. If you're not in control of physical activity, not in control of sleep, which is obviously related to the rest of it, not in control of diet, and not in control of stress, you are going to gain body fat and you are going to get unhealthy. There is, there's not really any two ways about that. That is going to happen. This is why this is so important.
We need this course, to try to combat anything that's going to cause you to put fat on. And we're trying to lose as much fat as we possibly can. We've sort of been through that, beating around the bush with it. And if you don't see these as equally as important as training and nutrition, it's going to shoot you in the foot.
Yeah, I mean, again, a lot of the issues that we've got daily life today elicits stress response. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Our stress response is good, but we have to appreciate that it's an evolutionary response that is designed for situations where we had to upregulate everything and we had to try and survive. Now we're getting that stress response where we get up in the morning, when we're stuck all of these times in the day, and it's a massive issue, and it's impacting what food choices you make, how you sleep, how you recover, how you train.
Mental health as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's ways that we can, really simple things that we can put in to help control this. So what happens with the stress response, I just wanted to cover this, is that, we increase things like cortisol and adrenaline. We basically prime your body to break down. It increases your heart rate, increases your breathing rate, decreases digestion, we release glucose into your blood, and increase blood pressure. We prime ourselves to break the body down, to fight, flight,
It's the fight or flight response, exactly. And, you've got to consider why we have that response. It's to get away from things. It's that are life-threatening. We need to be able to control it when it's a bad email, because it's not life-threatening.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, chronic stress has a little bit of a different thing, though. So chronic stress, we have this going on short-term whenever we get stressed. But if we're not switching off, all of this happens. Our blood pressure goes up long term. We end up with hypertension. Our heart rate, resting heart rate is increased. We are just unable to switch off. Our body is just generally less healthy. We're not dealing with sugars as well, which from a body composition point of view means that we are not able to train as well. We're not able to work our muscles and recover as well. We're not digesting well. We're not getting the right things into our system at the right times. So we've got gut dysfunction. We're letting too many things that our body doesn't want to go into the system through. We get food intolerances build up. We get chronic inflammation. We're sore, we're aching, we're not recovering from the workouts. We generally feel like we don't want to train. We're not burning as much fat. And obviously we've got cognitive and psychological issues as well. Like Jamie said, there's mental health issues that come up with this. And we just want to make sure that we cover it.
We want to make sure, we are causing you in this situation. Are we going to cause you more stress? It's going to be more time where you're questioning what you're 100%. Doing. It's going to give self-doubt. It's going to give you, find it hard. It's going to be difficult. You need to understand that there's ways and approaches to deal with it, and we do need to recognise it, especially throughout the program. It's quite an intense program. We I work a lot on trying to sort of make sure that people feel positive all the time. And if you get consumed with stress and consumed with the negatives, it's going to be very difficult for you to get the most out of this type of plan.
100%. I mean, when it comes to stress, you can skip on. When it comes to
this says slide 2, doesn't it?
When it comes to stress, perception is absolutely reality. So however you view stress, if you're seeing something as the worst thing in the world because you're going to be 10 minutes late for a meeting, that is going to have a completely different effect on your body. So if you're viewing it as, you know what, I'm going to be 10 minutes late, but it's a one-off, I did everything I could, I was organised, and it won't happen again. It's going to have a different impact. Now, stress when it comes to body composition, this is a bit that's really important for you guys. On this course throughout the 8 weeks, we are dead keen on making sure that you appreciate stress in general and how important it is. But even just throughout this really simple phase of let's get us in the best shape possible, we're not going to have as much ability to build or maintain muscle mass. We're going to increase our body fat. Our training is going to be horrendous. We're just not going to be training as well, which is going to have an additional lead to reduce building muscle and an additional lead to increasing body fat. We're going to lose strength physically and because of all these reasons as well. So really important. So when it comes to stress, again, we have to just be aware of it and make sure that we manage it. So perception is reality. If you're doing what you can to make sure that you are organised and that you sort of understand how big an issue things really are, then it's going to help. If you're getting worked up on little things, it's going to cause your body to be constantly breaking down. It's going to cause you to basically store more body fat and lose muscle mass.
Speak to us about this. You know, stress is obviously has different levels for different people. So speak to your coach about it. And if you're in a stressful environment, speak to me or Josh, because we sort of have experience in this and trying to manage it and deal with it. But where it says perception, you've got to understand where you're in. You've got to know, how do I feel today? Yeah. How do I feel? Am I stressed? What's coming up? What am I doing about it? You know, and making sure that there is a plan and it's not just seen as something that you have to put up with. Because yes, you're going to have to put up with it, but you can manage it. This is how you feel. Stress is how you feel. You are fully in control of your stress levels.
100%. And obviously, you know, organisation, like James said, as long as you're organised, as long as you're putting things in and you're planning things out in advance of time, if you can plan and manage something, great. If there's something that is just adding to your stress all the time, but it doesn't really need to be there, then look at getting rid of it. Look at how you can get rid of that.
We sort of talk about as well, you know, like it's not just about getting rid. We also try to make sure where it says plan or manage, we've got to increase your capacity to be able to deal with these stress. So don't think that we're saying, oh, I'll just take out work because it's causing me stress. We need to work on managing your response. Yeah.
Guys, obviously there's meditation, relaxation techniques and things that you can put in. We know that exercise helps with this. You have to make sure that you are doing what you can so that your sleep quality is good, and you need to be looking after your
People
nutrition.
tell me that meditation is not for me, I'm too old go, and I can't relax because I haven't got time because I'm too old go. Well, maybe that's a problem. Yeah. Anyone that comes to me tell me that they're stressed, job one is to try to change the state of your mind. And if you are not willing to spend 5 minutes listening to Calm app or trying to chill out, then you know you're not going to do very well moving forward.
There's great apps, and like I said, there's Calm, there's Headspace. These are
and there's just asking, like yoga. We've got a yoga studio here. Not very many of the clients take benefit from, but some of the relaxing gym classes and things like that, you're not going to get a better environment. You're not going to feel better than when you come out of one of them sessions.
Yeah, and again, I think that it's important to understand that by doing this, we're actually giving our body the opportunity to build more muscle and burn more fat as well, because we are changing the state of our adrenaline hormone systems and things to make sure that we are primed for recovery. And we need to balance the working out and recovery. So, again, onto this recovery. Obviously, we break down in the gym. So we want to rebuild when we're not in the gym. We also want to make sure that we're balancing the amount of work that we can handle. If we can't recover, we won't progress. It's as simple as that. If you overdo it, you do too much, you can't recover from the workout, you will not move forward. So making sure that you appreciate how important this is massively, massively key. And that's why we have some higher intensity and some lower intensity workouts in there to make sure that we are doing, from the programming point of view, enough to monitor this workload. But if you were to sort of say, you know what, I feel good today, so I can do more every day without appreciating some of the reasons that we've programmed that in, it's not going to lead to better results. It'll actually lead to you crashing and burning much sooner than you usually would. Again, managed training, good nutrition, enough sleep, low stress, and then things like massage, things like cryotherapy, whatever you want to do for your own sort of recovery practices are fine, but we need to make sure that your training, your nutrition, your stress, and your sleep are all managed. And guys, that is it for today. So,
any questions, any problems?
This is
a massive one. You've got to feel like you're able to talk to us, so get yourself sorted. Yeah.
Cool. Right, guys, we're done for that. Cheers.